And welcome to another edition of Columbus United FC Soccer Talk as we are right into the start of the regular season in USL2. And I'm pleased to welcome the head coach of Columbus United FC, Coach Brett Teach. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well. How are you, Richard?
Doing good. So far, you've had two matches. Not really the results you wanted, but they were both 1-1 draws. We're going to start with the home opener against Tennessee SC. That was last Saturday. What was your impression on that match? I know that it was hot out there at Memorial Stadium. Did you sub properly? Did you feel like there were some things strategically that you guys could have worked on to try to get the victory? Because we almost thought that was a victory, but unfortunately, they actually called off that goal in extra time in that second half.
I think, the difficult part when you're early in the season, you're playing games a week after you've gotten there. Tennessee had less time to prepare, but had a game under their belt, which was a nice, it's kind of which is better. I think I'd rather have a game under my belt to play than having to go for the first time. But we did get the week to prepare. And I thought for a group that's never really played together, I thought we had some really good moments. I thought for the vast majority of the game, we were the better side, but we were never really, as dynamic in the last little bit. I think, the conditions were difficult. Like the grass was a little bit high, it was a little bit wet because of all the rain. And I think it took us a little while to adjust. We haven't played on grass all year since we've been in, because we train in a turf stadium. So I think that was a little bit of an adjustment. But again, I wasn't disappointed with the result. Obviously we were 10 minutes away from losing a game. So to find a goal and to keep going, I think as a coach, you're not really, you're results oriented, but you're not results driven, you're process driven, because that allows you to see, okay, we did some really good things and let's look at this objectively and see where we can grow, where we can get better, and places where we're not quite there yet. And I think early on, we had good control of the ball, good control of the game, but we weren't creating repetitive opportunities. There were some opportunities, but not repetitively the way that we want to. And I think as the game wore on, we created more and more and more. And then I think had we had the benefit of VAR, I do think the goal would have been allowed after we watched it back several times. But it's one of those calls that, quite frankly, had I been a ref, I'd have called it as well, because our player was in an offside position. But when you watch the video back, you realize he wasn't even close to the ball. Keeper would have never gotten it. So, there's the luck of the draw. Sometimes that goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. But overall, I wasn't displeased at all. I thought that we had some guys come off the bench and really help us. The crowd was great. I think there was an awful lot of excitement. And then we had to deal with termites midway through the game, which made it even more exciting, having bugs swarming everywhere. And I think it was a good game and a tough game. And I think we show a lot of character, because that would have been an easy game to lose. You're down a goal, you're fighting it. They're sitting in, not really trying to score anymore, just trying to not give up the loss and or not give up the game. I mean, so no, I would say took a lot out of the game, because number one, we found a way to get a point, which you have to do. I think more importantly, I think we learned a little bit about our guys and our team character by finding it against a very good team, a playoff team a year ago, finding a point when we could have easily lost the match, even though I felt in most aspects we were probably the better side on the day.
Yeah, Carter Berg ends up scoring the equalizer in the 82nd minute. He was the man of the match, and you do get a point against Tennessee SC, which right now they are on top in the South Central Division with 7 points. They've already had 3 matches. They've won 2 games, and they tied against you guys. And then you travel to Birmingham Legion FC 2. And we all know that road games are tough. And same result, a 1-1 tie, thanks to Evan Stafa. Talk about what you learned from your team in that 1-1 draw against Birmingham Legion FC, another team that's currently in second place in the South Central Division. So you got to really feel confident about your team, that the 2 top teams in the division that you ended up tying. So just talk about that match against Birmingham Legion FC and on the road.
Yeah, again, I think it was a really good performance last night. We were very unfortunate not to have won the game. We played, I think, as well as we could at this point in several aspects of the game. I think at the end of the game, they were holding on for dear life, just hoping that we didn't. Kind of like the first game, quite frankly, and that comes down to our ability to move the ball and to make them chase us, because you run out of gas. You just do. It's a very difficult way to defend. You just feel like wave after wave of attack is coming at you. And again, Evans scored a great goal, a goal from 25, 30 yards. And it took that to get the goal last night. And again, I think the goal that we allowed, just like the first game, was self-inflicted. It wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't earned, because it was, but we gave the ball away needlessly in a bad area for the second game in a row. And those are things, the nice thing about it, and both goals are given up are correctable errors. But last night we had some of the best attacking stuff we've had yet. I thought our guys were the guys we brought in, 3 or 4 guys at halftime, and they changed the game. Retta was outstanding when he came on. Then we also brought on Carter again, who's, Carter's kind of a mainstay for our team now. And then we brought on Dakota a little bit later on, Montevallo player, and he did very well. And his kind of minutes that he played, he was instrumental in the goal and really creating some extra chances that we had. And so I do think the guys who came in all lifted us, which is really important, that because we have a number of good players and they're all competing to get into the roster, into the lineup each day. And again, I think this crazy thing is a lot of, like, at the end of this weekend, Tennessee, I think, will have 4 games played. We'll have 3, and Asheville City won't have played a game yet. It's just kind
Yeah.
of the quirks in the schedule because of a team dropping out late. And so each of us have now a bye week that we didn't have. So Asheville City's bye week was this past weekend, and they look very strong. I watched their game against Hickory the other night, and they beat Hickory 7-0 in a friendly. Now, again, it's friendly. Hickory played a lot of guys and all that kind of stuff, but it's still a very impressive result for them. So I think there's going to be a lot of good teams. I don't think there's any walkovers. I watched Apotheos play. They're very good. Legion was very good last night. I think they're very dangerous in attack. But, I was really proud of the guys. And we also had a little bit of trouble with our transportation. Our bus broke down on the way. So we were stranded for an hour and a half on the side of the road, basically. And luckily, we broke down in an area where they could get inside, and in the air conditioning at a convenience store is nice enough to allow us to kind of hang out in there while we were waiting for the other bus to come get us. So we got there, got a very short warm up, 20 minutes, had to play after that. And again, that's 2 games in a row where there's been some adversity. The first game obviously was just the first game, new venue, new field, a little bit wet, all different pieces. And we found a way in both games against really good teams to control the game, first of all, to create repetitive opportunities the way that we like to create them. And then to also be at the end of the game, if one team looks like they're going to win, it was us. And that just shows you the depth that we have, and then the consistency throughout the group of quality. And so, again, good indicators. We still have work to do, no doubt. So we'll play our 3rd game Saturday, then we don't play for 2 weeks. So it's crazy how, after 1 week, we'll be almost a third of the way through the schedule. And after a quarter, way through the schedule. And then after 3 weeks, we'll be a quarter of the way through the schedule. So it's just the quirks in the schedule, since we have our bye week, which would have been our Athens game next weekend. So we get through Saturday, give the guys a couple days to kind of recover. And then I think we'll get a good 8 to 10 game stretch or day stretch of really working on growing and getting better and better and better.
Yeah, and it was the second match where you were down 1-0 and able to tie it. Do you give credit to your defense for keeping the score the way it is? It seems like with these teams that you're facing, they get up early. They don't want to lose, so they're playing to lose. I mean, they're playing not to lose, rather. So do you think that the strategy changes both games, getting down by a goal, but you're able to end up tying it?
For us, not really, because we play on the front foot anyway. I mean, we're always, the way that we play is always going to be ball dominant. We want to be on the ball. We want to create chances by breaking teams down in certain ways, and we look for certain indications of where we can get into them. And so I think that for us, it doesn't really change a whole lot. Whether we're up a goal, down a goal, it doesn't really affect us, because we're going to play. It's like the other night at home, we're up a goal or we're tied, and everybody thinks, okay, they'll be satisfied with that. We just kept going and going and going. And honestly, we conceded a chance because we kept trying to win the game. I think it's just our nature to play to win. And I think I think really what happened in both games was more our opponents got really tired of chasing the ball. And so that's why, when we get this right, and if you remember, this happened a lot last year too, the style of play that we have, you tend to score goals later. It'd be great if you get up a couple goals. That makes it really easy. But you tend to have a lot of if you think how many games we won in overtime or we scored twice in the last 10 minutes and it was because of we're just not as fatigued as our opponents. And that's because we've had the ball the whole time. And so, and you know how important that is once the weather gets even warmer and warmer and things like that. It's really difficult to chase a team that always seems to be on the ball, fighting and battling. And it's just difficult. So I think really both Tennessee and Birmingham, I thought did a great job to not lose the game. I mean, they could have both lost the game the way we were going at them and going at them and going at them and going at them. And that's what, I think both teams, both nights found character and found ways to believe in their team because, for them, both of those teams not to have lost the game to us with the pressure that was mounting and on them, I think was really impressive on their side. And for us, to just keep going. Again, the game's 90 minutes, we're going to use every minute of it. And so I think that I don't necessarily think their strategy changed. I think more what happens is the reality of just being pinned in and you're just having to bend, not break. Because, again, we've been on both sides of that. We had to weather some storms last year in a semifinal against Motown or in the quarterfinal against West Texas. Good teams are always going to have those waves of moments. And what we get good enough on the ball, we make it even more difficult. So I would just say that it really looks like it's going to be a difficult schedule this year. Every game's going to come down to the wire. And I just think, that you have to find ways then to continue to get better and better and better.
All right, your next home match is going to be this Saturday against Dothan United, which is a rivalry game. Dothan is currently 1-1 on the season after splitting with Montgomery United. They scored 3 goals in their last match. Clearly, this is, even though you guys never played each other, this is obviously a rivalry because of the city of Dothan and the city of Columbus. And we expect the Dothan fans to make the trip to Memorial Stadium. Just talk about this upcoming match. What are you looking forward to? I know it's Memorial Day weekend. We should see a lot of fans out there. There's a lot of events going on in that area with the Cleanstones in town. You got graduations. You got the NAIA World Series. Just talk about what you're looking forward to with this upcoming match against Dothan United. And what do you know about Dothan United? What type of team are you facing this Saturday?
I think they'll be kind of a mixture the first 2 we played. They're very well organized, very good, very talented team. I watched a little bit of their first game with Montgomery, where, quite frankly, it was in a rainstorm. The weather was terrible. They had lightning delays. And then I watched a bit of their second game, the turnaround game, which they lost the first one, but then turned around and won 3-1 the second game. They get great crowds. I'm sure they'll travel well. They have Carl, their head coach, does a great job with their team. He always has. They've kind of captured that community. And the team knows it and they play for it. They're pretty good on the ball. Like they'll be one of the better teams that we see in terms of their ball movement, and yet they're able to play vertically when they need to. And I think they're one of the favorites to win the league. I think they're a very good team. So I think it'll be a very challenging night for both of us. I think we'll test them in some ways and they'll test us in some ways. Looking forward to the game just because I know, again, one of the most enjoyable things about the summer is the opportunity to play in high-level, tough matches. And this is going to certainly be one of the toughest ones we'll see all year. Excited about the weekend, obviously, having everybody here. They will have the advantage of not having played midweek, and we did, which is always a little bit of a challenge, but that's why you have a squad, not just a few players. And, so we have to rotate the squad a little bit. We will, but we'll see how everybody recovers from last night. But I do think that it will be a very, very exciting, high energy, high octane type game. And honestly, the better that we can play with the ball and create momentum for ourselves, I think the better opportunity we'll have in the end to get the result that we want.
Yeah, they scored all 3 goals against Montgomery United last match in that first half. Goals by Will Necker, Santiago Hoyos, and Devontae Richards. And their goalie actually left because he had a collision. And then after the 61st minute mark, they did receive a red card. So they were a man down, but they were able to get the victory. It's going to be a tough matchup. Coach, I'm looking forward to it. And we are excited to be the official broadcast partner of Columbus United FC, as you could catch the games on NBC Sports Engine Play. And that's really the only way you could see the game live, but we also try to get a replay of the game the day after. Thank you so much, Coach, just for allowing us just to give you time to talk about the last couple of games, and looking forward to that match with Dothan United.
Yeah, it'll be a great one. I would encourage everybody to come out, because I know when we go there, they're going to have 3,000 or 4,000 people screaming at us. So it'll be
Oh, no
nice to give
question.
them a little treatment when they come here. But again, we appreciate everything you guys do for us. And, we'd love to see Columbus soccer community come out and be a part of it. And we'd love to get to know you. And after the game, we always have a great time talking to everybody that spent the time to come out. So look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday night.
All right, that is Columbus United FC soccer coach Brett Teach. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to have the general manager of Columbus United FC, Eleni Hitchcock. Don't go anywhere. It's the Columbus United FC Soccer Talk here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And welcome back here to Columbus United FC Soccer Talk. I want to thank Coach Brett Teach. And now we've got the general manager. So please welcome to Columbus United FC Soccer Talk, Eleni Hitchcock, general manager for your Columbus United FC. How you doing, Eleni?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Well, first of all, you were very busy. That opener, you were running around doing a million things. I didn't get a chance to talk to you, but talk about how that opener went. I know that there was a lot of moving parts, but you guys must have been there all day. I mean, the team was putting up the goals. I mean, just trying to embrace just the dimensions of Memorial Stadium just to try to get the opener ready. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, the home opener overall was it was an amazing event. But like you said, there was a lot of moving pieces leading into the home opener. As you do going into any new stadium, there's lots that you're going to have to change and adjust and get prepared, especially for the home game. So it'll get a little easier throughout the season. But, adding our branding across the stadium, it's an older historic stadium. So there's some other things you just got to make sure everything's working, everything's, ready for the fans to come in. But overall, I mean, it was a great event. Setup went smoothly. We have a great team, front office staff that made sure everything was very smoothly ran.
Yeah, it was a great venue. The tailgating was great. Also, the fan support. Just talk about everything that went into, as far as concessions, the fan support, the city back in this team, and just that opener being a huge success.
Yeah, we are so thankful. We have, across the board, like you said, we had the support from the city. We're able to use that amazing stadium. They had lots of city leadership come out to the game. They all came to support with their families, which was amazing to see. Going from, just the fan experience, our owners did an owners tailgate, which we'll do every game. And so they're set up right outside the entrance, and they'll have some scofflaw beers, some stirred up cocktails, canned cocktails for some fans to enjoy before going in. And then, once you're in there, you have the concessions. We have a bar inside the stadium as well. So, fans can enjoy a good beer or a glass of wine and be able to watch the game. We have, Chester's food, which is everyone knows and loves. And so being able to have all of this that you're able to hang around, watch a really good game. And the talent on the field was something special. So that just added to the experience for all of our fans.
Yeah, and so far the team has played 2 soccer matches. Were you able to travel with the team for that game against Birmingham Legion FC2?
I was not able to travel, sadly. I stayed back and we had an amazing watch party last night at High School, getting the fans together. But I did hear that the team, they did get stopped on the way. The bus broke down. And so our boys played great knowing that happened. I got some pictures of all the boys. They ran into a gas station though and grabbed some fun sunglasses. So they enjoyed it while, as things happen, they were loving it.
Yeah, I mean, so far the team is 0-0-2. They've got 2 points. They're currently in 5th place in the South Central Division. As I had Coach Brett Teach on earlier, we talked about the 2 draws were against the 2 top teams in the South Central Division. So you got Dothan United coming to Memorial Stadium this Saturday. They're going to bring their fans. They scored 3 goals against Montgomery. Just talk about what this rivalry means to the city for Dothan. Even though they have never played Dothan United, just the Dothan-Columbus rivalry is very important, and we expect a big crowd like we had in the opener this upcoming Saturday against Dothan United.
Yeah, and we know they're going to bring a good number of fans up, so it's going to be really exciting to see. I know our supporters groups have created a fun little rivalry. They've been working together on some fun stuff. They've created supporter scarves together. So it's going to be, they're just up the road. So it's going to be a fun 2-leg match against them. So home and away. I will for sure be going away to that game. That will be a fun one to enjoy. But they're just as talented as the other teams that we've played against are. So lots of competition, but all around, I think we have a good chance to get some extra points in there.
And it's also 80s night. It's a promotional homage back to the championship team that won the first city club championship in the state, as far as the paying tribute to the 1987 team. Just talk about some of the things that you guys are working with as far as bringing those promotional deals as far as 80s nights. Like, what type of theme do you got going on for this upcoming match?
Yeah, so we're having lots of fun with this game. It's going to be presented by Pepsi. So Pepsi's going to have mini soccer balls for the first 500 fans to come through. That'll be really exciting. We're doing a fun 80s night. So like you said, the jerseys that we are wearing now are, a reflection of the jerseys that our ownership group wore in 1987. So they have the pinstripes, the yellow and red. And so we're excited to be able to continue showcasing that jersey. We'll be able to talk and get some of our owners involved this upcoming game. And overall, it's just going to be a fun event. We'll have some fun 80s music. Our supporters group are doing the peanuts and soda derby. And so being able to have our Pepsi product there is very exciting for us.
And very exciting. And then you also have a bunch of home games coming up in the month of June. And then the team goes on the road starting Wednesday, June the 4th. Against Apalthos FC. It is Ted Lasso night. This was something they did last year. I know that, Ted Lasso, a very popular soccer comedy on Apple TV. Just talk about why Ted Lasso night is so popular, because, if you're a soccer fan, you love the show, obviously, because it's a very clever show. And, in the first 500 fans receive like a Ted Lasso mustache, or what are some other promotionals you got going on for that?
Yeah, so Ted Lasso night's always a fun one. If you love the sport or not, or if you've loved the sport or you're now falling in love with the sport, it's such a feel-good show just to introduce the culture of the game. So it's more than, obviously they mention the games, the rivalries, the competition, but they talk about the culture, what it means for the fan base, what it means for, players off the field. And so it helps. And that's my biggest thing is I love showcasing who we are, not just on the field, but off the field. And so that show is something we all relate to, and who doesn't love Ted Lasso? So, we will have inspired mustaches for just about everybody in the stadium. We'll have some of our limited edition merchandise as well at that game, as we're going to do for some of our other games as well.
Eleni, I do want to bring it back to the opener because it really had a soccer feel to it. Your fans really came out and showed out with the soccer flags, the chants. It kind of felt like an English Premier League match. I mean, is that the vibe you want to try to bring for Columbus United FC? Is that really what you want to try to promote? Because we do have some really diehard soccer fans here in Columbus that aren't just MLS fans, because I'm an MLS fan. I love Atlanta United, but we're talking people that will watch the Premier League. They'll get up at 3:00 in the morning and they'll watch Newcastle and Liverpool or Manchester City or that team, Crystal, like the one that just won the Premier League. I'm trying to remember, and then Bundesliga and Liga MX. I mean, you got some really passionate soccer fans that are coming out to these soccer matches.
100%. We just want the environment and the culture around the team, not just on game days, year round. We'll be doing watch parties and whatnot year round, but the culture of the games, it's having, we have our independent supporters group and they are amazing, and they have the flags and they're doing the chants, and I know they're having chant practices and they're getting fans together, just outside of our events that we're hosting too, but having that energy in the stadium. And like you said, there are 1 million soccer supporters in this town. I think they just haven't had a place to connect yet. I personally am a huge Arsenal supporter. I have my Gunners behind me. And so recently I've met 1 million Arsenal supporters around here. And now we get together and, we'll have a 3 p.m. lunch and to watch. We did that for Champions League, and we're grabbing food just to get together for a little bit. But I think being able to get our fans together, not just for Columbus United, but for just the sport overall, is just going to be really exciting to continue the culture of what we're doing and what the sport is.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Columbus United Cavalry 24 and Victor Feliciano, who has really been spearheading this independent supporters group that's been coming out to the matches. They were a part of the team last year, and they're showing support. We expect them to be out there this Saturday. All right, before I let you go, Eleni, just talk about the USL in general. Have you got a feel for the league? Have you been communicating with the other general managers? Right now, it's great. It's the South Central Division. All the teams are close. But have you reached out to the other general managers? What's the league looking like as far as just that atmosphere and the other soccer matches going around in the South Central Division?
Yeah. So in our division, just overall across the country, we all have really good connections with different teams. And so being able to work together, obviously we have the on the field work that we're working together on and making sure game days and everything like that is perfect and running, and being really good partners off the field and on the field. But we're also trying to figure out some fun, really cool promotions to get our fans together. So like I've been getting with Manny from Montgomery, and we've been doing a lot of cool stuff there. I've been talking with Dothan. So there's lots of really cool stuff to come. And some of it may be, let's get it ready now for next year. But year after year, these teams we all have the same mission. We all just want to grow the beautiful game in our markets. And we got to do it together. So that's the best way to do it. And get our fans. I know our supporters group talks to the Dothan supporters group quite a bit. And so getting our fans to even work together. And so it's 90 minutes you can be competing, but the rest of the time you are working together to continue the growth of the sport.
And I do want to mention this. This is my final question to you, Eleni, because I noticed that USL2 also has USLW, because Tennessee SC has a women's team. Is that in the future for Columbus United? Is there a possibility we could get a USLW team?
It is definitely in the works right now. So we will be adding a USLW team.
That is great news to hear, because there's a lot of female soccer talent that was in the city. They happen to play for the Columbus Rapids. Some of the greatest players ever came out of Columbus State played here in this city. So I know I'm excited about that as a fan of the game. Thank you so much, Eleni, for being on Columbus United FC Soccer Talk. Looking forward to seeing you this Saturday. And Georgia Alabama Sports Live has got you coverage for the broadcast. Thank you once again.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. That is Eleni Hitchcock, the general manager of Columbus United FC. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching another episode of Columbus United FC Soccer Talk. We will see you next week here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.